All right, hello once again, everyone. This is Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and as part of the Rankin Technical College online AWD Application and Web Development 1100 C# programming class for the spring 2024 semester, I've been doing a series of videos basically based off of the PowerPoint slides for the textbook for the class, that being Muroc C# 8th edition. Now, before I go into Chapter 7, which I'm going to do shortly, and you can see it's on handling exceptions and validating data. As I have been doing, I'm going to go back to our payroll program here. We've already been doing some data validation in here. What do I mean? Well, this is data validation. We said to come in here and attempt to parse the data. If you couldn't parse the data, meaning that result is false, or if you put in a rate that was less than 0, or you put in a rate that was greater than 99.99, you were going to have the person just be stopped right there. Basically, they were just stopped. All right. Now, is there another way you can do this? And of course, the answer is yes. So let's, I made a copy of, this is a copy of what I did before. All right. And now I'm going to just start right here with this input first name. Okay. Now I'm going to be violating a little bit of the dry principle here, just so you know that. Are there better ways of doing it than what I'm about to do? I'm sure there are. But I'm trying to keep everything so that it is still modularized. All right. So I'm going to come in here in this input first name and I'm going to make some changes. All right, this is the console one. Yeah, I'll still clear and I'll still ask you, but I'm not going to put a do while in there, okay? Instead, I'm going to say this. In fact, let me move these over. There we go. And now I'm going to say if first name dot trim equal null, meaning there was nothing in there. But now I'm going to, whoopsie doopsie. Now I'm going to change this. I don't know why I put that in there, but I did. So I'm going to throw an exception. All right. Now, what's an exception? Well, I've given this kind of an example before, but I've got a 4-year-old grandson. All right. I'm sorry, 4-month-old grandson. I've got a 6-year-old granddaughter, but I've got a 4-month-old grandson. And imagine I was walking him down the street in a stroller. You know, he's in a stroller and I'm walking him down. And somebody comes up and says, "What an exceptional young man." I'm probably going to say thank you because I look at that as being a compliment. But exceptions in programming are not good things. They are exceptions to the norm. They are the equivalent of errors. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to type in listing of C# exceptions. And someplace in here I'm going to get them. Complete list. All right. So there they all are. Now, I don't know how many are in here. I'm going to guess 40 maybe. But I'm going to look at what's in here. So let's see. I'm going to use that one, argument null exception, because I'm expecting you to put in a name, and if you don't, I'm going to do this. I'm going to throw this argument null exception. In fact, let's do it like this. I'm going to use true exception handling, so I'm going to say try. And in this try block, I'm going to put in code that could conceivably fail. All right. So again, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to throw a new argument null exception right there. Okay. Now, what's that going to do? Well, what's going to happen is I'm going to catch that now. And what am I going to do with that? It's up to me. All right? It's literally up to me what I'm going to do with this. Well, I think I'm looking down here, and I'm going to go and I'm going to write in here. I'm going to write a routine. So I'm going to put it here. In fact, I'm not even going to do that. I'll do that when we get to the GUI version of this. All right, but in here, I'm going to say this. I'm going to put console. In fact, do I need console? Can I just say write line in here? Write line, you must enter a first name. And then I'll say program ending. Okay? And to end it, all I'm going to do is just return. Now, I want to see if this works. All right? Like I said, I want to see if this works. Now, you must enter a first name, program ending. Well, I'm getting a warning right now because I'm never using this. This is the actual message that the system is giving us. So let's do this. I'll put in two write lines. So write line, system error message plus ANE dot message. Okay? So I'm going to run the program again, and I'm not going to put in a first name. Now you'll notice if I do that, what's the problem? It's still going to go and run all this stuff. And I don't want that to happen anymore. All right? So instead of this while 1 equal 1, we can worry about that later. All right? Let's just see. I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to make one of those variables that's called keep going. So bool keep going. And I'm going to set it equal to true. All right, and then in here, I'm going to get rid of both of these. All right, don't worry, it's fine. Really, it's fine the way it is. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do this into this. So if keep going, then whoopsie, I'm going to call input last name. Now, this should be this. So we'll do this. Again, we're going to get errors in here as we're doing this. Don't worry about it. All right, I'm going to take all of this stuff here for now, comment it out. And we'll work on them one at a time. And I'm going to say here, else return. Now you have to play computer here. It's going to call input first name, which is down here. All right, now first name isn't returning anything. It's going to have to return a Boolean. All right, if it goes through all this stuff and there aren't any errors, I can just return true. All right, but if I get down to here, I have to return false. Now, what doesn't it like here? Well, I'm never declaring first name. So I can say here string, first name, like that. And I want to move that over. There. Now it's got a bool here, returning false, returning true. What doesn't it like? A namespace cannot directly contain members such as fields, methods, or statements. Show potential fixes. Well, let's look. input first name. Well, this is going to have to be keep going equal input last name. I thought that would get rid of that error, and it will. As soon as I fix that, I'm going to just write, I'm going to have to make this a bool. All right, now that error is gone. But it doesn't like this, so let's see. Bool keep going equals input first name. The name input first name does not exist in the current context. Input first name, bool input first name. Well, I've got static private, and it looks like it wants private static, and I don't know why that would matter, but is that what, no, that's not what the error was. The name input first name does not exist in the current context. Input first name, input first name. Well, we're going to figure it out right now, so let's see. Show potential fixes. Private static bool input first name. Now got private static bool input first name. First name. All right, it gave me two of these, and that's why I was getting the errors, so. All right, that's fixed it. All right, so this is what I want to show you. I'm going to run it now. We're far from having this done, but I want to show you this. I'm going to put nothing in for the first name. Oh, doggone it. Gave me an error. Yeah, it's in the input last name. So let's take this input last name that's in here. I'm just going to comment it out. And that should get rid of my error. I got to comment out the whole doggone thing. Oh, let's see. All right, I'll just say static void here for now. Okay, and this will fix it. All right, so that error should now go away. So let's run this. And it's asking me for a first name. If I leave it blank, what is it doing? It should have come in here and done this, and it doesn't look as though it did. I just want to work on this one routine at a time. So we're coming in here and we're saying try. So here, bool, keep going equals input first name. If keep going, I'm just going to put in here a write line that says valid first name was input. Okay? But otherwise, I'm going to put in here no first name was input, and when I return from here, I should be done. So if I put in Jeff, it's not liking anything that I'm doing here. Let's leave it blank and hit enter. Still not liking anything we're doing. All right, this is going to be much easier to fix with the non-GUI version, but hey, I'm trying to make all this work, so let's see. That's interesting. I would have thought it was going to give me output, but it's not. Let's see if we can run this like this. So I'm going to come in here and do a file, save all. And let's see if it's even getting into the routine. Okay. So we'll put something there, and we'll put one here, and we'll put one here. I'm setting breakpoints because I want to see what's happening in the program. All right, so I've got to come in here now, and I'm going to tell it to not enter anything. So I'm going to hit enter, and you'll notice it went down to here. It's going, oh, let's see. Is it doing the return true anyway? Oh, because I'm checking for null here. I should be checking for nothing. There we go. Let me try running it again now. Let me remove these and try running it again, and let's see what it looks like now. All right, there's nothing in here. All right, then let's come back and let's add these breakpoints back in again. Breakpoints are just going to make this program stop when it gets here. I want to see if it's returning true or false. So all right, enter your first name. I'm leaving it blank. Whoops. It is returning false. It's jumping right to there, but it's not doing this, and it's not doing this, which I don't understand, but let's see it one more time. Prove it again. All right, I'm going to leave this blank. So enter first name. I'm going to leave it blank. It's jumping right down to return false. It's not doing this. It's not doing this. It's just going right to here. All right. Now let's run it again and see if we can get the return true. All right, by actually putting something in there. So Jeff, and it's going there. All right, and we'll tell it to continue then. Okay, it is skipping this, but it's not doing these two things here. I can't understand why. Got that in there. Well, let's try doing this. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to grab these two things and put them in their own routine. So I'm going to call a routine that right now doesn't exist. All right, I'm going to say show error message. And I'm going to have a message, and I'm going to have a we'll put in here ane.message plus a blank line. So on the next line, I'm going to say no name was input. All right, and then finally, I'm going to say no name inputted. That should be the ideally, this should be the message, and that should be the heading. So I need show error message. So let's go down to here. Let's go down to the very bottom. Private void. Guess I need static void, and I need that show error message. And I need the string for the message, and I need a string for the title. And I'll put in message box dot show. And I'll need the message. I will need the title. Let's see. Let's see, message box. Oh, there is no message box in here. I can't do this. That's what the problem is. I wanted to do that, but I can't. But it is, like I said, the problem here is it is skipping this. Here, I don't need this. Forget that. But if I put in here like a right line, error, it's skipping that, and I'm not sure why. So error plus, and then on the next line, I want it to print out the message, and that's what this should be doing. But it's not. It is not printing out the message here. It is just returning false. So if the first name.trim has nothing in it, I should be throwing a new argument null exception. When I catch the argument null exception, I should be printing this and then returning false. But when I come in here and leave it blank and hit enter, it's not doing that. It's jumping right to here. And I have not written enough console programs, I guess, where I've done this. Let's just do this. All right, I'll return false. And I'll leave that in there. It'll just be a warning. It's fine. So I'm going to come in here and do the same thing with the last name. So this will now be input last name. This will be last name. And again, enter your last name. Last name equal read line. If last name dot trim, throw this. And again, this will have to go to a bool. And return true, otherwise just return false. All right, then I'll have to change that up here. So if it worked, then I want to call last name. Otherwise, I just want to return. It's not, this is not being hit. I don't know why. So if keep going, that's all good. Keep going equal input last name. Let's see if right now it is handling the first name and the last name. If I put something in for a first name and for a last name, if I put something in for each of them, basically nothing's going to happen here. So Jeff, Scott, boom, it's done. Now, if I do come in here and I leave my first name empty, it just stops. That's good. If I run it again, put in my first name, but no last name, it stops. That's good. All right, and again, I'm going to come in here and get rid of these clears. I'll leave the clear for the first name, and I'm going to get rid of the one for the last name. There we go. All right, now we're going to do a similar thing in here. All right, so again, try if this, keep going, otherwise return. Okay, if keep going, again, we're going to say keep going equals input hours worked. Don't worry, we'll fix the error in just a minute. Else, again, we'll just return. All right, now again, we're going to have to keep doing this. So these two are done, but in here, this will now have to be a bool. All right, and we're going to come in, and we're going to do the same kind of thing we just did, but we're going to come in here and do this. And I'm going to come in here and just make a kind of a subtle change here. And I'm going to say if result equal false, or this or this. So if it's any of those, return false. No, I don't want to return false. I want to, again, throw another exception. Now, it's not null. What are the other exceptions that we can throw other than null? There is an argument out of range, argument exception. That's what we'll throw here. It's just a regular argument exception. Actually, we can use an out of range because, how about this? If the result is false, we put something non-numeric in there. So if the result is false, we will throw a new argument exception. All right. Else, if either, now we want to check the range. So if we put something here like this, then we want to throw a new argument out of range exception. All right. Return true. And again, this will all, just like before, this will all have to be put into a try-catch block. All right, now I'm doing all this junk and I'm doing very little explaining right now. I get that. And we'll get more of this when we go through the chapter. But I'm going to come in here now and say catch argument out of range exception. Return false. And I'm going to do the same thing for an argument exception. All right, now I want to do the same thing. So everything that we've done, I can now, let's see, input hours worked. So if keep going, I now can come in and call input hourly rate. Just like that. Else return. And then finally, when we get down to the bottom here, I'm going to say if keep going. That means we put in everything that we put in has been valid. And I can uncomment that, and I can uncomment that. Now, what's left to do? Well, you can already see I'm missing a curly brace here. There. Okay. So, this should be moved over. Like that. There we go. Now, I don't know if it means private static bool or static private bool. I don't think the order matters, but let's be consistent. So we'll say private static in front of all these. So that's the hours worked. We've got to do something similar here for the hourly rate. Now, yeah, don't worry about those errors. I'm going to go and copy everything that was in here, and I'm going to copy it into here, except I'm going to change so that instead of working with hours worked, we'll be working with hourly rate. There we go. All right, so this is hourly rate. So this is enter your hourly rate, which was 0 to 99.99. All right, this will be an HR. HR. This will be rate. 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 I think that's everything. Now, what I want to do is quickly run it, put in something valid for everything. I don't think I even need this here. All right, I think that's why I'm getting those. That's why I'm getting the warnings. So where's that other one? There we go. All right, so let's see if I do put in valid stuff, if the program still works. That's what I want to do first. All right, so Jeff, okay, yeah, that's fine. Scott, spelled my name wrong, 40, 25, that worked. Good. We don't have it anymore in a loop, but that's okay. All right, so it does work. All right. I don't need this valid first name input anymore in there anymore. So I can run the program. All right, so here is main. So let's see, boom, 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 return, return, etc. I'm going to try to put this all into a loop like we had it before and see if it still works. It may and it may not. We'll see. You will see it when I see it. All right. File, save all. So enter your first name, Jeff. Enter your last name, Scott. Hours worked, 50. Hourly rate, 10. It should give me 550. It did. Okay. And it tells me to do it again. Let's see if it's keeping count of my employees. So Bob Jones, 40, 20, 2. Looks like it's working just fine. All right. So that's good. So what I just did right there was I put in not only data validation, which was actually in there already, but I put in the try catch. Now, I don't expect that to make a boatload of sense to any of you. So I'm hoping that when I close this one and open the other one, which is the GUI version, that makes more sense. All right, so let's see. Set is startup. All right, so right now, this one looks like this. You may remember or not remember. That's it. All right, so when we got calculate here, notice that if keep going, okay, so we've got all these keep goings in here. Now, if it's empty, right now we're calling that show message. All right, I want to sort of do this, but yet not do this. I don't know if what I just said made any sense at all. So what I'm going to do is this, okay? I'm going to come in here and I'm going to type in try. Now, what you put in try are statements that could conceivably fail. So I'm going to grab everything. I'm just going to grab this for now. All right. Now, what I'm going to do here is change this around. So I'm going to say if there's nothing in the first name, all right, what I'm going to do is I'm first going to call that show message that we've just talked about before, and then I'm going to say throw new argument exception, like that. Now, once I throw the new argument exception, okay, there's no code in here that's going to matter anymore. Okay, now I'll need the return ret val. So now I can say, whoops, catch argument exception. And if there was an argument exception, all I'm going to do here is return false. Now, I should be able to run this now, and it should function exactly like it did previously. So file, save all, let's run it. I'm leaving this blank. Okay, no first name input. The only thing it looks like it didn't do is I must have forgotten to do that. So before we return false, we'll just make sure there's nothing in there. It should have been empty already, but I'm still going to say txt first name dot text equals nothing. Txt first name dot focus. All right, so let's try that. File, save all. There's nothing in here. Okay, no first name input, and there's my cursor. Good. That's a good start. Now I'm going to grab all of this. I'm going to grab all of this that I just put in for the input first name, and I'm going to copy it down to the input last name and just change my occurrences of first name to last name. All right, so this is last. This will all be last. All right, so that should all be working now. Now, up here, we can run this the same way. So let's see if it's still working. All right, I will put in my first name, but I won't put in a last name. All right, you must enter a last name. Okay. Now, if I do put in a last name, it's still doing this, but this is the old code that we have to start fixing. All right. So what I've been doing in here is I'm saying try to do this. Let's say that everything's cool. I put Jeff in for a first name. I've got a ret val, a return value right there that I'm setting equal to true. All right. In fact, technically, I don't even need this return value anymore. I can just return true here. All right. So try to do this. If the first name is empty, show me an error message and throw an exception, which will knock it down to here and do all that. If there is something in the first name, skip this and just return true. Then we'll do the same thing for the last name. And again, we don't need that ret val there. So this will just be true. All right. All right. Let's go look at this. Okay, so again, I'm going to come in here and do a try. Just like we have been doing. I won't need this ret val. All right, we're just about there, believe it or not. So this will be returned true because we got rid of the ret val. These are the error messages, just like we had before. I'm going to, for right now, remove that. Now, there's two things that can happen here. If I do this, I put in something non-numeric. If I do this, I put in something that was out of range. I can throw two different exceptions there if I want to. I'm just going to say if you do either one of these, throw new argument out of range exception, just like that. And then I'm going to check in my catch. I'm going to catch an argument out of range exception. And if we get one of those, all right, I'm going to come in here and again say txt hours worked is nothing. We'll set that back. Let's see, I'm trying this again. So we're throwing that, we're catching that, we're doing the show message. All right, and we just return false. All right, let's see if that works. We're going to go over all of it when we get done. So now you've already seen this. That works. You've already seen this. That works. Now, if I put something out of range here, hours worked out of range, this should clear and my cursor should be there. Great. All right. So I should be able to grab all of this, copy it to the clipboard, come down here and put it in here. But again, I have to change all these to hourly rate. That actually should be everything. No, I can do the same thing for my gross pay, etc. We'll do that in a minute. But let's see. First of all, let's see if we put valid stuff in, if it works. So Jeff Scott, 40, 25. Cool. It's clear. Mary Green, 50, 40. That all looks like it's working. Good. All right. So we've got all that. Let's come down to where we are doing our calculating our gross pay. Now, we shouldn't have to do any air conditioning here because we've already set hours. And so there's really nothing I have to do here. Same with my updating. So let's go through the whole program from the top here. All right, hopefully that'll help people. I'm not trying to confuse you. This is all new stuff, so I can see where it could be confusing. All right. So taking it from the top. Same constants we've been having. Minimum hours 0, maximum hours 84. Minimum rate 0, maximum rate 99.99. Minimum hours you can work and not get overtime. Sorry, maximum hours you can work and not get overtime 40. Overtime rate is time and a half or 1.5. Here's our global variables. We're going to have to eventually take those and make them non-global and pass them around, but we'll worry about that in a bit. All right. So we've got our hours, our rate, our gross, our total employees, our total gross, and our average gross. And in fact, why don't we do this? Maybe I'll be sorry I did this. These are final totals. All right, they're final totals. I'm going to keep these global, but I'm going to take these, make them local. So I'm going to comment this out, which is going to give me a bunch of errors throughout the program. And don't, watch what this did. See, it made all those errors because everywhere I'm referencing it now, there's no variable. But we're going to put them in right now. So we got hours, rate, and gross. So let's get all those. So let's see. We've got our Boolean keep going equals full first name. Put first name. All right, so in here, now I'm going to have to come in, and I'm going to have to come in and say decimal hours. All right, that fixed that. And I'm going to have to come in here and say decimal rate. Now that'll fix that, but only partially, because the rest of the program doesn't know, see that? Doesn't know about hours and rate. All right, so it won't know that. So let's see. That will mean that when I come in here and I call calculate gross pay, I will now have to pass in hours, which it doesn't know. Want to pass in hours and rate, but it doesn't know them. Can we fix that? The answer is yes. All right, this if keep going right here, let's get rid of it. And the update final totals will move in a second. All right, so this was everything. When we get into our hourly rate, if everything worked, here we're returning true. We don't have to do that anymore. All right, now what we're going to do, okay. I'm going to call calculate gross pay. All right, and I'm going to pass in here, well, it'll know rate, but it won't know hours. All right, we'll do it like this. Okay, this is kind of stinky way to do it, but it'll work. All right, so we're calling calculate gross pay. So in here, now I'll have to say hours equal decimal hours equal decimal dot parse txt hours worked dot text. Decimal rate equal decimal dot parse txt hourly rate dot text. That'll work. I'm just doing it again, even though I've already done it once, which is kind of stupid. And then let's put in here decimal gross. And we'll say that it's equal to 0.0 m. There. All right, so total gross plus equal gross. Okay, it doesn't know this. So from here, we're going to have to call our update final totals. There we are. We're refactoring at least some of our code. We're changing it around. All right, so there's input hourly rate. Oh, I'm not calling that anymore, it looks like. Not all paths return a value. It should fix that. Calculate gross pay, and after we calculate gross pay, we have to update the final totals. And when we update the final totals right here, we'll have to pass the gross along. It'll have to know that the gross exists. All right. All right, I just want to see if it works, and then we can go back over everything, okay? So file, save all. Let's put in 3 employees. I'm going to just put in 3 valid employees for now, okay? So Mary White, she works 40 hours a week. She makes $30 an hour. Should be 1,200, 1,200, 1,200. Good. It's clear. Let's do Jane Black. 50 hours, 20. This should be 1,100, I believe. 2, 2,300, 1,150, if I did my math right. There we go. We'll do one more. We'll do Barney Brown, who worked 60 hours and makes 30 bucks an hour. I don't know what the gross will be. All right. Probably 2,700 if I did my math right. Oh, 2,100. So that's all working. All right. We haven't broken the program. That's the best part. All right. But let's take this from the top now. And I don't expect until we go over the slides for Chapter 7 that this probably will not totally make sense to everyone. All right. But I'm just going to take the whole program from the top. We took these variables, these that were global, and we made them local. So we had to pass them around. These were final totals. All right. Did these have to be global? The answer is no. In fact, I can grab these, and it'll give me some errors now, but I'm going to go and put those down in my bottom routine down here. All right. And now I can get rid of that comment. What we just did was we got rid of all, it's considered okay practice to have your constants be global. In other words, to define them outside of anything else. You should shoot for or always try to not have any global variables. The reason for that is if you have global variables, you can get what are referred to as side effects, EFFECTS. Sometimes you want a side effect. Sometimes you don't. But if I make these global, if I brought those back in here and made them global, that would mean they could be changed in any routine there is. That's not a good practice. Now the only place that we can change these values is in this routine because that's where they've been defined. And we're not passing them anyplace else. All right, so this is actually, it's getting there as far as a decent program. Now, this logic that's in here is the same stuff we did before. Keep going equals input first name. If the first name was valid, input the last name, otherwise return. Then you go in, and if last name was valid, you call input hours worked, otherwise you return. If the input hours worked was valid, here you called input hourly rate, otherwise you return. All right. Finally, you did the same thing with hourly rate. Okay. What changed was each one of these routines. What we did, there's actually, I was going to go into this when I go over the PowerPoints, but let's talk about it now. When you are doing error handling, there's basically three ways of doing it. The first is what I call the ostrich method. You know, and you hear these stories. I've never seen an ostrich, all right, live at least or in person. But supposedly what an ostrich does when it gets scared is it buries its head in the ground. Well, the reason I call this the ostrich method is the first type of error checking that you put into a program is you put none in. You assume that the person running the program will always enter reliable, valid input. That is the worst thing you can do. The second thing you can do is what we had been doing up until this chapter. Up until this chapter. And what I mean by that is we were using straight if statements. All right. If you had something that was invalid, we basically gave you a message and we got the heck out. Now what we're doing is we're catching this stuff. All right. So this here, you must enter a first name. All right. You know, throw this new argument exception. I don't know. I'll try this, and I don't know if it'll work or not. But what I'd like to do is to move this down, have it enter this, and I'm going to put in here first thing, I'll put in error. Plus system message is, now I want to put in the system message. All right, and then I'll put in down here plus that. Now, I don't expect that to make any sense, what I just did. So this is going to now say AE for argument exception. And now I can say AE.message. All right. Now, I don't know if that's going to work or not. If it does, I'm going to change all the other ones. All right. So let's see. This is for the first name. So I'm going to come in here and leave the first name blank. Okay, it did work. So notice it says error. System message is value does not fall within the expected range. Then you must enter a first name. The you must enter a first name is what I put in right here. The error message from the system was not my message. All right, so I'm gonna try to fix all these right now. We'll see if it works. So we'll put that here. Get rid of that here. So this will say argument exception again, AE. All right, and this will be you must enter a last name, not larst. So no last name input. So I'm putting both my error message and the error message we're getting from the system. All right. Now this will be a different error message. Okay. And I'm going to move this down. Don't worry, that'll be fixed in a minute. And this will again say error plus \n, and this will say this is argument out of range exception, argument out of range exception. there, like that. All right. And I'm going to steal some of this. You need a backslash in there. I don't remember what I grabbed from here. We're going to do this. Copy that. And I'm going to put it in right there. It's okay. Like I said, this will all be fixed in a minute. So error, then we will have a blank line, and we'll give the message. And then another blank line, then my message. All right. I think I have no errors in here. Good. All right. So notice the difference now. I'm going to put errors in here for everything I do. If I leave this blank, it now says error, and then it first shows the system message. Value does not fall within the range. Then it shows my message. You must enter a first name. Now, if I put Jeff in here, I'm going to get that for this one right here. Error. Value does not fall within this accepted range. My message, you must enter a last name. So I'm going to put that in. And I'm going to leave this blank. Error. System argument was out of range of valid values. That's the system message. Then there's my message. All right, let's do one more thing in here. So system message is. Oops, that should be moved to there. There. Now, I don't have to do this, but I'm also going to put in here programmer message. In fact, I'll put in a \n, two of them. Now I'm going to put in programmer message. I want you to be able to see what I'm putting in as opposed to what is being put in by the system. All right, now it doesn't like something here, so let's see. Show message does not exist in the existing context. Well, that ain't good. Show message. Okay. Input hourly rate, try, catch. There's the if. There's the catch. Doesn't like something in here. It's usually a problem with one too many or one too few curly braces. Oh, it doesn't like any of my show messages now. Did I change this? Is this show message still in here? Private void, show message. Okay, something is wrong with my curly braces here, so let's fix it. This is one of those times where I wish I wouldn't have done all this because something screwed up. Last name, first name. Again, the chances are about 100% that it's something in here with curly braces. I want that. I want it to show me what the darn error is. Here. Oh, I'm missing. I've got. Okay, well, that took care of all of them except that took care of all of them. I had too many parentheses in there. All right, so let me try this again. Save all. Run the program. I want you to see this. With nothing in there, I get the system message. And, well, now I lost where it said programmer message. So let me put that back. System message plus programmer message. Why is it not showing that? System message, because I didn't put it in. Oh, programmer message. System message, I got to put it in here. Programmer message. And in here as well. All right, so let's try it one last time. All right. So there's the system message. There's my message. In fact, one more thing I should do here is after error, I should have another \n in each one of these. Whoops. \n. 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 All right. So file, save all, run the program again. If I leave the first name out, error. There's the system message. There's my message. All right, I'm going to put something in now. Error. Well, I lost the R. System message, programmer message. All right. Out of range. System message, programmer message. Hours worked. Well, it says I put something wrong in there, so let's try it one more time. Thought I put, this should say hourly rate, and I didn't, so I must have copied that in. So let's fix that. Yeah, this, you must enter an hourly rate. Hourly rate, they should say, is empty or out of range. Plus, the first time I wrote error, I left an R off. All right, file, save all, run it. All right, no first name, error, system message, my message. No last name, error, system message, my message. Hours worked, error, system message, my message. Hourly rate, error, system message, my message. And everything's cool. So what I did in this particular one was I went into the 4 routines. First of all, I got rid of all my global variables. All right. And I came in here and I changed nothing in my calculate routine, except I got rid of the call to calculate the gross pay and the update the totals, and I moved them down. But in my input first name and last name, I put them in try-catch blocks. All right, so again, the first way of doing this, as I mentioned, is what I call the ostrich method, duck and cover. You hope that there'll never be any bad errors or any erroneous input in there. No validation is done. Second is done through if statements, where you never let bad data in to begin with. That's what we've been doing so far. Now what we just added here was try catch, where if bad data comes into the system, you let it in and then you work with it. All right? So that's what we've done. All right, so I'm going to go back. I'm going to save this. I've got to be at least at an hour, I would think. Wow. And I'm going to stop here and then go over the PowerPoints for Chapter 11. So I'll be back with that shortly.